Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we're going to talk about the 2018 version of the Uprising event. Last year's version of the event came out on April the 11th, and we don't think it's too much of a stretch to guess that this year's version will come out at a very similar time. All of which means we're less than a month away. So we thought it was a good time to do some theory crafting with the info we do actually know and also apply some judicious imagination. You know, for science, or just the fun of it as well. Now the first thing to talk about is that the previous scenario from last year is probably returning, giving players a chance to play it who didn't the first time around. So that's the fight against Null Sector in London with Tracer, Torb, Mercy and Reinhardt, plus the skins that also came with it. Now the first Uprising was extremely popular, and it was mostly due to the fact that that mode was actually incredibly good, and actually challenging on the hardest difficulty with the lore accurate heroes at least. Jeff has said in a few articles that they are planning on evolving this event, and as far as that applies to the original mode, perhaps some improved gameplay mechanics and enemy AI would be welcome, maybe even some new enemy archetypes. Now despite its popularity, it was still quite basic. Maybe adding some new features or modes, like say an endless version, would be a really nice improvement. One of the only criticisms from last year was actually the length of the scenario. It was quite short. Any way that they can add to what they had would be awesome. One piece of content that we could be getting for the old mode is that it does look like Winston may be getting an Uprising skin. Precisely how Winston fits into an event that's technically already happened, I'm not entirely sure of. Your guess is as good as mine. However, if we're being real, what a lot of fans want, indeed what I want, is some totally new content and even a new scenario. Like I said, for science, let's try and guess at what that could be. The first thing to consider is that the lore illustrated that Blackwatch was on the ground during the Uprising before Overwatch could itself commit to it. We know for sure that McCree was there, and Reaper also leaves the Overwatch command center when they're trying to figure out if Overwatch itself is going to go in. It's the famous panel from the comic that led to his shrug emote. When asked about Reaper's lore recently on the forums, Jeff said it was definitely coming and that they are working on it. A Blackwatch version of Uprising would present a great opportunity to do that. A big part of why Reaper's story is so interesting to fans is the way that he's at first presented as kind of an anti-hero and then makes a slide into actual villainy. It's hinted that Moira experimented on him and that he blames Overwatch for becoming the Reaper character, stuck between perpetual life and death. A new Blackwatch Uprising scenario could definitely help explain some of that, particularly if Moira features in it, as she wasn't in the game for last year's event. Perhaps the Blackwatch mission goes wrong, something that could turn Reyes against Overwatch as a whole. Also, let's not forget that if it were to be Blackwatch, they could incorporate new gameplay elements, like maybe even stealth sections and assassinations. The possibilities are almost endless. Now, part of the reason why I see this as a potential option is directly because of the presence of Moira, who was a Blackwatch medic. She also had Uprising voice lines that were data mined a while back.
Null Trooper down. Eradicator eliminated. Detonator inbound.
A Blackwatch Uprising is still speculation, but I do feel it's a little bit more grounded because of that fact. Incidentally, Doomfist also had some Uprising voice lines data mined, but seeing as he's a Talon officer, it makes little sense in story terms. Maybe his voice lines are to cover for the Unlimited Heroes mode. You could play the old Uprising as the lore accurate team, but you could also play it with whoever you wanted. In Doomfist's case, it makes slightly more sense to have those voice lines just for that mode. But then I think to myself, perhaps we're thinking a little bit too small. The new Uprising could be a Talon Uprising too. The plans that Doomfist has been making for so long coming to fruition. So Moira, Reaper, Doomfist and Widow or Sombra starting a new war with the Omnics. Conflict makes us stronger, as Doomfist likes to say. I'm absolutely certain that there's a huge appetite for story content that actually moves it forwards. Seemingly, ever since the beginning of the game and the Recall trailer, we've been eagerly awaiting new details. Sombra's reveal, for example, shows how she manipulated Lady Volskaya in Russia, who just happens to build mechs with the help of Omnic technology. Maybe that's the setting. Maybe Volskaya is the map for the new scenario, much like King's Row was for last year's. With all of this said, what I really think would be cool, and what could be considered as a genuine evolution, is that the new mode mixes PvE and PvP elements. One of the appeals of Uprising was it is the closest closest we've ever got to a sort of mini campaign or PvE content in general. Sure, Junkenstein does PvE too, but it does it in a much more wave-based horde type way. What I'd like to see is that the new Uprising has PvE elements, but also has sections where different players play different roles on different sides of the conflict. Kind of like games like Friday the 13th, if you're familiar with that, or even Overwatch's own Yeti Hunt. The way it could work is that similar to Junkenstein, where heroes come out as mini-bosses, what if the new Uprising had that mechanic too, but it was other players controlling those mini-bosses? You get the best of both worlds there. Maybe that player versus player mode is even separate from the main scenario, as an extra option, if you will, for you and your friends to play. It's not like I'm greedy or anything. Daddy Jeff, let's get some serious hype going. Let me know in the comments what you guys really want from the 2018 version of the Uprising event. I think they have a real opportunity to do something absolutely amazing. I really hope you liked the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.